First, in 2017, Ian Russell's daughter, Molly, took her own life. She was just 14.
Molly had been the target of internet bullying and found herself exposed to the most distressing and harmful content online. Since her death, her father, Ian, has campaigned for meaningful laws to prevent any parent from experiencing the unimaginable pain his family suffered after Molly died, including right here on the show.
Every week in the UK, the statistics show us that there are, on average, 4 school-age children that die by suicide. So I think a lot of those people who have found themselves in a bad place will also have been connected to the harmful content that is to be found online. So it's really important that the government keep their promise to make the UK the safest place in the world to be online, and they pass this legislation, and then the regulators can compel the platforms to do what they should be doing now, which is to make their platforms safe for us all.
Well, the person responsible for taking that action is Michelle Donnellan, the Secretary of State for Digital, Culture, Media and Sport. In September, she inherited responsibility for the Online Safety Bill, a raft of proposed laws the government says will make the internet a safer place.
Well, Secretary of State joins us now. Alongside her is Molly's father, Ian Russell. Thank you both for joining us today. So it's broad-ranging, this bill. This is covering everything from increasing public information about online choices to making upskirting, cyberfashing and revenge porn. Different areas under the same bill: perpetrators of fake adverts using celebrities to mislead the public, taking action on so-called romance fraud. So this has recently been added to, and this proposes sharing content encouraging self-harm will be illegal. And obviously, for you, Ian, this is something that you've been wanting for a very long time.
Absolutely. We've just passed the 5th anniversary of Molly's death. And, of course, in all of that time, we've wanted to take steps to remove the things that may have contributed to Molly's death. And it was only about a week after she died that we started finding harmful content on her social media accounts. And we hadn't realised that she had been self-harming until after her death. And so any legislation that makes content that encourages self-harm harder for people to find, not just young people, but any people to find, has to be a hugely welcome step.
So, having heard of this bill, where it goes, where it doesn't go, and the bits that have been changed, what's your reaction to that? Does this go far enough?
I don't think that any bill like this goes far enough, because it's almost impossible to keep up with the pace of change. This isn't a particular criticism, but it's really tough. This is hard. The bill is huge. It's a tough piece of legislation. I can understand why it's taken a long time to get this far. But I think what's really important to me is the content that Molly's inquest revealed that was dangerous to her, which it has an unfortunate tag. It's become known as harmful but legal, but it's content that is sort of debatable, that she saw, but I think that was the most dangerous content that sapped her life force and stopped her wanting to live. Yeah. And it's that content that we have to make sure is protected against and legislated against.
So, Michelle, this bill is in your hands now. Yeah. You're sitting next to this father that has been through something no parent wants to go through. Would something like this, it's difficult to sort of pinpoint it as one case, but in future cases, do you think this bill goes far enough to protect children like Molly or others out there?
Well, first of all, I want to pay tribute to the work that Ian's done. You know, this bill wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for Ian's work personally, pushing this agenda forward, which is remarkable given everything that his family have gone through.
Absolutely.
But we want to prevent other families from going through the same ordeal. And that's why it's a priority to get it back. It was my top priority when I came to office, but also to strengthen it for children. That's what we've done. So some of the changes that we've made now on top of what we had before is saying that for too long we've allowed social media companies to almost pretend that they're putting a restriction of 13 in place when we know that 10-year-olds are joining these platforms. We know 11-year-olds are joining them. They've got to stop that.
How do they stop that?
Well, there's a variety
kids are really, I mean, this is what kids are really good at.
Yeah.
I mean, they're better than us when it comes to technology and getting round the rules.
Yeah, they are, but the rules aren't even enforced at the moment. And there's age assurance technology out there, there's age verification technology out there. They know the age of these kids. That's why they're supplying them with lots of adverts and making money off them. What they're not doing is using it as a force for good. They're putting profits before children. And we've got to stop that, and that's what we're going to do in this bill.
I just want to go back and make a point that that Ian made then, and that is that there is an amendment. Social media sites no longer have to take down material designated legal
Yes.
but harmful. And that really strikes me as a very difficult area to attempt to police in any sort of way, because you have the argument towards free speech if something isn't illegal, but at the same time it is immensely harmful and damaging and potentially killing children. So where do you tread the line on something that is legal but harmful?
Yeah, I'm glad you've asked this, because it can be quite confusing, because what we're doing is not affecting children. So there are child safety duties which will prevent children from seeing content that could hurt them, stuff that isn't necessarily illegal, like violent content, like the content which Molly saw. That will be prevented in the case of children. When it comes to adults, what we've done is try to rebalance the bill a bit, make it more common sense, so that we are putting in place protections whilst also providing more free choice. So we've got a triple shield for adults, where if it's illegal, it has to go. If it's contrary to their terms and conditions, which we know the terms and conditions are good, they just don't enforce them. They cover anti-Semitism, they cover racism, they cover abuse against women, etc. It has to go. Third shield is that we ensure that social media platforms give users more choice over the types of content that they see. So there's 3 levels of protections for adults, but children, we've kept everything in place for children, but we've enhanced it and strengthened it.
So who...
Sorry, that I think is an important point, because I have concerns, and I know a lot of other people have concerns, that removing a whole clause from the bill, and I know the sort of content that Molly saw would have been covered by that bill, if that's no longer there, I know people have concerns that it can't be as strong, it must be watered down from where it was yesterday.
So that clause only related to adults, so I don't want anybody watching or for you to think that that clause in any way related to children. It doesn't. So if you're under 18 and you are being subjected to harmful content, that has to stop under the new bill. But for adults, actually, what this does is give some more protection, because under legal but harmful, it would have resulted in most of the content being banned, which is a bit of a grey area, as you say, Philip, because
does that make you feel better?
This is between
that
legal
answer, or is that still
and
not
illegal.
quite?
I think it's really hard. You know, the bill. The most important thing is this bill moves forward, because people need protection. Lives are at risk. There's research that shows, you know, it was mentioned earlier that 4 school-aged children die every week by suicide, and there's research that shows about a quarter of those children have had contact with harmful content of a suicidal nature. So it does play an important factor. So time is important. This bill has to go forward to protect people. These are the subjects that we need more clarity, we need to debate, I need to understand better, we need to get forward, and secondary legislation and all the other things that need to come with it.
Well, Shadow Culture Secretary Lucy Powell said this is a major weakening of the bill. Replacing the prevention of harm with the emphasis on free speech undermines the very purpose of this bill and will embolden abusers, COVID deniers, hoaxers, who will feel encouraged to thrive online.
I mean, Lucy is misunderstanding the bill. It is a very complicated bill. Actually, this offers more protections. What happened before is, under legal but harmful, if a platform said, we allow legal but harmful content, which they could do, then the user ran out of road. They either stop using that platform, or they use that platform and get subjected to the abuse. We've offered a 3rd layer of protection in that scenario, where the user will have more control over what they see. So in many ways, we've strengthened it in that sense.
But if it's a popular platform and they're saying, listen, we have legal but harmful, if it's popular, people are still going to go on to it, because that's where all their friends are.
But that's
quite hard to fight that, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's why we've removed legal but harmful.
Right.
And we've said what happens now is, if it's illegal, it has to go. If it's contrary to the terms and conditions, which we know cover all of those things, then it has to go. And the 3rd thing is, you get more control over what you see. You're in the driving seat of your own social media account as an adult.
I know for a fact that a major social media company said, yeah, our terms and conditions are a bit woolly on this. And that's them. They are out to make money, and they will attempt in any way to make as much money as possible. We've just seen, obviously, seen Twitter change hands with Elon Musk, and many people who were outlawed on the platform have now been encouraged to go back. And that in itself, you know, appears on the outside to be a pretty scary thing. How much are they engaging with you? And I appreciate that, you know, if they're going to be under any form of restriction, whether or not there are fines, that they might have to engage. But do they want to?
They want to engage, certainly. Do they want the bill?
And
Of course they don't.
will they do? Yeah. Will they do anything about it? Will they take it seriously?
Yeah, because like you said, you know, they run off profit. Their main goal is to get a profit. This is going to hit them where it hurts. They could face fines of up to 10% of global turnover. That's billions of pounds. They don't want to face that. So the incentive is really there to comply with the bill. Why are they not doing it now? Because they're not being held to account. There's no sanctions if they don't do any of this stuff. This bill changes all of that.
Ian, last word?
Yeah, I'd like to say three things. There's three posts that Molly saw.
Yeah.
They're safe to say on television.
Yeah,
I've been very careful. Who would love a suicidal girl? That's a really hard thing to legislate against. How harmful is it, that one post? The world is so cruel, I don't want to see it anymore. That's perhaps a little bit more strong and more clear that that's wrong. And the last post that Molly saved before she died just said, the worst thing depression did to me was take my intelligence. Feeling yourself getting dumber and dumber is absolutely painful. I'm going to give you these because I know you're on side. I know you're trying to make this work, just as a reminder of the sort of content that Molly saw, in a hope that that won't be allowed on the internet when this bill makes it onto the statute books.
Thank you. And I will continue to work with you and the other stakeholders and campaigners on this because it's such a vital issue. And this bill really is a game changer in this space. We'll be the first in the world to go this far.
Well, it's the safety of the next generation.
Yeah.
It's our children's safety
Yeah.
that is at stake here.
Absolutely.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Very much.